Welcome to Mission Innovation powered by AWS. I'm Tyler Replogle, Principal Solution Architect at AWS, and I work with partners to help our customers in the federal space, in the public sector space. I'm here today with one of our partners, Santosh from Accenture Federal Services. Santosh, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Accenture and how that works with our partnership on AWS?
Thank you, Tyler. Hi, folks. My name is Santosh Chiplunkar, and I'm the asset leads at Accenture Federal Services. I help bring some of Accenture's most impactful commercial innovations into the federal space. Think about translating enterprise-grade tech into mission-ready solutions. My role focuses on ensuring that these assets meet strict federal compliance standards and are deployable across various secure environments like GovCloud, top secret, secret environments. Our partnership with AWS is critical in this planning process. AWS provides us with visibility into service availability roadmap across these different cloud environments, and these allow us to design and modernize our assets with foresight. So we don't have to think about just building products for today, but for what's coming next. I also wear another hat. I serve as the asset owner for the product for GenWizard, and this is our flagship Gen AI platform. In this role, I drive the go-to-market strategy. I collaborate closely with our sales and marketing teams, lead demos and proof of concepts that bring GenWizard to life for our federal customers. It's a blend of product strategy, evangelism, and a little bit of Gen AI showmanship.
Thank you for that, Santosh. And I'm excited that we're able to talk about GenWizard. We've done several different solutions together. Why specifically GenWizard, and why did you develop it? What are some of those key challenges that you're seeing in the public sector?
That's a great question. GenWizard is Accenture's proprietary Gen AI platform designed to industrialize and scale the use of AI across the entire technology delivery lifecycle. We built it to solve a major industry gap. Most organizations experiment with Gen AI in silos, but few manage to scale it effectively and securely, especially in the federal sector. In government, modernization is often slow and expensive. Legacy systems that are built 20, 30, even 50 years ago are poorly documented and written in niche languages like assembly language, COBOL, or MUMPS. Add to that an aging workforce, and you get high maintenance costs just to keep the systems running. One agency, for example, spent over $1 billion a year maintaining a MUMPS-based electronic health record system. GenWizard helps close that gap. With over 700 ready-to-use AI patents, it brings automation to knowledge capture, reverse engineering, forward engineering, data modernization, and even IT operations, making modernization faster, more secure, and scalable.
I really like what you said about faster. One of the sayings that we have here at Amazon is speed matters.
Yes.
It came from our retail business, where we wanted to deliver packages as soon as we can.
Right.
And it's really important in this space too. So I know there's a couple of other things that we can focus on in terms of business value. What are some of those other key metrics that you can share about?
Absolutely. This is where I think Tyler, GenWizard really shines. Across hundreds of implementations that we have done in our commercial space, we have consistently seen around 50% improvement in understanding and documenting legacy code, around 20 to 30% acceleration in requirements gathering, similar 20 to 30% acceleration in design activities like architecture documents, detailed diagrams, and pseudocode. 30% efficiency in the build phase, where we are actually doing code generation based on Gen AI and combining it and partnering it with AWS tools like Code Whisperer to get a further boost in efficiency. And then we also get around 20 to 30% improvements in testing, like generating test scripts, use cases, and test data. So whether you're modernizing a 20-year-old mainframe system or building something cloud native, GenWizard gives team a serious head start.
Thank you for that. It's exciting to really be able to see all the different business value that our customers are able to receive from this. And those challenges that they're able to go through with that. I'd like to now switch into diving into the technical aspects of things. Can you walk us through some of the core technical components of this solution and really talking about the AWS services, maybe some of the reasons why you chose one service over another?
Absolutely. So GenWizard is built on a cloud-native microservices architecture. We ensured that it's scalable, modular, and secure. It integrates naturally with tools like Jira, GitHub, Jenkins, Splunk, ServiceNow, and many others. AWS services like S3, RDS, EC2, EKS, they are the core building blocks of GenWizard. And we also use Amazon Bedrock for LLM integration. So here's how it works. During onboarding, our team builds a project by collaborating with the customer to select and configure prompts and patterns from the GenWizard Marketplace. GenWizard Marketplace has more than 700 patterns and prompts to choose from. We look at the use cases that the customer has, and then we select the specific prompts and patterns that are relevant to that use case. We understand what custom requirements the customer has, and we further modify and configure these prompts to be more accurate. So for example, if it's a COBOL modernization project, we'll select curated reverse engineering prompts and AI patterns built specifically for COBOL codebase. Once the project is set up, we build what we call the knowledge store. This includes uploading everything relevant to the project: application documentation, architecture diagrams, policy documents, security standards, and of course, the source code itself. GenWizard supports multiple formats, be it PDF, Word docs, Excel, and even images. All of these are pre-processed, embedded, and stored in a vector database, which powers the content generation. We also create an enterprise knowledge graph mapping these key entities and relationships within the data to enable deeper reasoning. So when a user submits a prompt and they start using the system, the workflow looks like this. An input, which is an answer or a question that the user asks, is embedded. It matched against the knowledge store. Our LLM orchestrator queries the graph to retrieve the relevant context. That context is passed on to a foundational LLM model like OpenAI to generate a response, and the response is returned back to the user. At the same time, we are continuously storing these responses within our knowledge store, further enriching our understanding of the application.
That's wonderful. That's interesting to really hear you talk and deep dive down about that. One of the things that we talk a lot about is a flywheel, and it sounds like you really have that virtuous cycle there of getting the data there, retraining the data, and really inspecting it. And one of the things that I'm interested in as a data person is the data module there. You talked about 700 different pieces of data that you have with that, or different prompts that you can use. But can you dive into that data model and what that looks like?
I'm glad you asked this question, Tyler. Data engineering is one of GenWizard's most important modules. For data migration, we have patterns where we can generate logical and conceptual models from physical models. We are able to classify data objects like tables, procedures, UDFs, and triggers by complexity, which help plan migrations effectively. We can also generate synthetic data for testing and validation, and support tech stack conversion like translating Scala to PySpark or SQL Server to Amazon Redshift. For data modernization, GenWizard builds models based on business processes, identifies anomalies and data quality issues, and supports source-to-target mappings right down to generating ETL or ELT code and creating test cases to move the data correctly.
Sounds like data is at the heart of all this. Data has gravity. That's one of the things that we hear a lot about that. But one of the most important things that we wanted to do is ensure that that data is safe and secure.
Yes.
And so what I was interested to hear from you is, what are some of those choices that you had to make strategically to be able to ensure that you're following some of those protocols that we see in the federal space on NIST 853 security controls, and making sure that it's fit for federal?
Absolutely. Security is not just a checkbox for us. It is the foundation to how GenWizard is built and deployed. We use multiple AWS services like Secrets Manager, STS, KMS, Cognito, IAM, Certificates Manager to ensure security across multiple levels. When we implement GenWizard, we have two deployment options. One is client hosted, where the platform runs within the client environment, and the other is AFS managed service that is hosted on AWS GovCloud that is managed by AFS. So for our managed services platform, the platform is fully compliant with NIST 800-171 and authorized to handle controlled classified information or CUI data. We are hosted in AWS Cloud, and every architectural choice from identity to storage has been made with federal compliance in mind. Now let's move to client deployments. GenWizard adapts to each customer's security policies. During onboarding, we assess the infrastructure requirements, which means like our customer wants to have DISA stick compliant images, or they want FIPS enabled environments or other client mandated configurations. We tailor our deployment scripts accordingly to meet those standards. Across both models, GenWizard applies multi-layer security, including AES 256 encryption, role-based access control, single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, and implementing transport security using TLS 1.2. We also recommend layering in network defenses like firewalls, intrusion detection, and IPS as part of in-depth in-depth security strategy in case the client has any which are not part of their infrastructure. On top of that, we conduct regular SaaS, DAST, and container scans and provide monthly security patches to remediate any vulnerabilities that would arise in the future.
Data is definitely important to us. Sounds like one of the things that we talk about within our securing of our infrastructure is the stack, how you're pushing it up. And it sounds like here that AFS and AWS are able to push up that security all the way up to the stack and to secure that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about here was a specific use case. If you could have us go through, a use case. Some of the ones that we're seeing a lot in this space is legacy code. You talked a little bit about that before. We're seeing where in the aging workforce, where we have people that are aging out, and then the new workforce that's coming in, they're not being really trained on this legacy code here. Can you give us an example of what that would look like in this use case?
Absolutely. So we have one of our most complex use cases, which is modernizing a system called Vista. Vista is a legacy electronic health record system used by one of our major federal health agencies. This platform is massive. It's built on technology called MUPS. This language predates Disco, and much of the code hasn't been touched since the early 2000s. The result? A highly opaque system that costs over $1 billion a year to maintain. Previous attempts to modernize it have struggled under the weight of complexity and costs, and that's where GenWizard comes in. We selected one module called the Vitals module and fed the MUMS code, tech guides, and documentations into GenWizard. It generated code explanation in plain English. It created entity relationship diagrams. It created process flows, sequence diagrams, and user stories that would facilitate modernization of that code, what we call in GenWizard as forward engineering. We refined these outputs using prompt engineering and retrieval augmented generation or RAG patterns, customized specifically for MUMS. This helped us improve context and clarity. And what we looked at was where we could have taken months to understand the code and reverse engineer manually, it took us a couple of weeks. And once we have done this, and once we understood our reverse engineered code, we then moved to requirements generation. We had these code explanations go through GenWizard and had another prompt create a set of user stories. GenWizard created around 200 user stories, and what we did then We reviewed and refined them and distilled them into 56 actionable stories. And the reason why these 200 came down to 56 is just an example. There were a whole bunch of outdated functions in the legacy code. Remember, 50,000-year-old code. So it had functionality like a dot matrix printer support. How many people know dot matrix anymore, right? So yes, these kind of functions were still there. And then once we had the user stories, next came code generation. Based on these user stories, GenWizard generated modern Java Spring Boot API layers. The team validated and extended this code, and they integrated it with a React UI, aligning it to healthcare standards like FHIR. We tested it end-to-end using Postman and built a working application that allowed users to input their vitals and persist data to a PostgreSQL database and view it in our web interface. The result was around 60% time savings in requirements gathering, 50% of time savings in code comprehension and documentation, and 40% in actual code development. The summary was, GenWizard just did not read legacy code. It understood it. It documented it, and it helped modernize it in a scalable, secure application which was ready for federal use.
Santosh, thank you so much for going over that example. It's really wonderful to be able to see a time to value like that. It's impressive to be able to see what GenWizard can do for our customers. What's next for GenWizard in terms of the federal focus? What are you seeing in the future for that? We're hearing a lot right now about agentic frameworks, agentic AI. Are you guys doing anything with that with GenWizard?
Tyler, we are leaning hard on agentic AI. Our next release includes enterprise-ready autonomous agents like super agents and specialized agents built to transform how technology is delivered. With over 700 plus reusable AI patterns, we are expecting up to 60% improvement in delivery efficiency, a 30% faster release cycles, and significant improvements in qualities. We are also launching Agent Studio, a collaborative environment to build and orchestrate AI agent networks so multiple agents can solve complex engineering problems together. The third big feature we are introducing is adding multi-LLM support to intelligently route work across OpenAI, Bedrock, SLMs, and RAG pipelines, balancing cost, performance, and accuracy. We're not just riding the agentic AI wave, we are helping shape it for the federal use.
And speaking about our customers, how could a customer get started today if they're interested in what they're hearing about with GenWizard?
Yeah, if GenWizard sounds like a fit for your agency, we would love to talk with you. Reach out to your AFS account lead, or if you're not sure who that is, your AWS solution architect can help make the connection. Or you can also connect us directly at afs.assets@afs.com. We are ready when you are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Santosh. We'll put that in the description of the video below. Thank you for coming on. And if you're interested in hearing more about what we do here on Mission Innovation powered by AWS, we have a landing page that we'll put in the description below. And thank you for coming here today and talking to us about GenWizard.
Okay. Thank you so much.